You can build a fortune and still feel empty when you cannot answer one simple question. Who is this for? Not what is the goal, not how large the income, not how impressive the position. Who is the man, woman, family, cause, duty, or future that gives the struggle meaning? That question reaches deeper than ambition. A man can work hard for years and still discover that effort alone does not give life direction. He may rise early. He may sacrifice comfort. He may endure criticism. He may build an enterprise, increase income, and earn respect. Then, one quiet evening, he realizes that success has become a machine he must keep feeding. But he no longer remembers why he built it. Do not wait for that moment. Know who your success is. For before success begins, demanding the best years of your life. This does not mean every ambition must be noble in a grand public sense. You may want to provide security for your family. You may want to give your children an education you never received. You may want to free your wife from financial worry. You may want to care for aging parents. You may want to prove to yourself that your abilities were not given to be wasted. You may want to create work that outlives you. These are reasons. They give the goal a human center. Money without a reason becomes accumulation. Status without a reason becomes display. Work without a reason becomes habit. The definite chief aim becomes stronger when it is attached to something you refuse to abandon lightly. This is why a man with a powerful why can endure what another man calls impossible. He is not simply working for the next payment. He sees the face behind the payment. He knows what the savings will protect. He knows what the enterprise will make possible. He knows what kind of future he is trying to create. That knowledge changes the quality of effort. The same task feels different when it serves someone you love. The same sacrifice feels different when you know what it is purchasing. The same delay becomes more tolerable when the destination means more than personal applause. Purpose does not remove difficulty. It gives difficulty a reason, and a reason can carry a man through seasons where motivation disappears. This is important because motivation is unreliable. Some mornings you will feel strong. Some mornings you will not. Some weeks the plan will move. Some weeks it will resist you. If your entire ambition depends upon excitement, it will weaken whenever excitement does. But a reason can remain when emotion becomes quiet. You say, I do not feel like working today, but I know why this work matters. That sentence creates discipline. Discipline is often purpose remembered in an hour. When comfort is tempting, you should write down what your success is meant to serve. Do not keep it vague. Vague purpose produces vague commitment. If you say, I want to help my family, define what that means. Do you want to remove debt, create a reserve, buy a home, provide education, give them more of your time? These are different aims. Clarity gives sacrifice a measurement. Without clarity, a man can spend his whole life saying he is doing it for the family while barely seeing the family he claims to serve. That contradiction must be examined. Success can become an excuse for absence. A man says, I am working for them. But every year the work expands, the income rises, the house improves, the obligations multiply. Yet the people he loves receive only what remains after business has taken everything else. Ask whether your method is serving the reason or destroying it. This question is essential. You can pursue wealth for your family and accidentally build a life in which your family has wealth but not you. You can pursue freedom and create an enterprise that owns every hour. You can pursue respect and become so dependent upon public approval that private relationships suffer. The reason must govern the method. Otherwise, success can betray its own purpose. This is why the man who knows who he is doing it for has an advantage. He can say no. He can refuse expansion that would violate the reason. He can reject money that requires becoming someone he does not respect. He can choose a smaller gain when the larger gain demands an unacceptable cost. His ambition has a standard beyond more. More is dangerous when it has no destination. How much money is enough? How much recognition? How much growth? If the answer is always more, you have no definite aim. You have appetite. Appetite can consume a lifetime. Purpose sets boundaries. It says, I want this amount because it will create this condition. I want this position because it will allow this service. I want this enterprise because it will produce this freedom. Now, success has architecture. It is no longer endless acquisition. There is another reason the question matters. When hardship comes, self-interest alone can become weak. You may say, "Why should I keep pushing? I can live with less. I can settle. I can avoid the risk." Sometimes that may be wise. But when another person off purpose depends upon your growth, a different force can appear. You rise because someone is counting on you. You keep your word because your example is teaching someone. You continue learning because your responsibility requires greater ability. This is not pressure in the unhealthy sense. It is responsibility becoming fuel. A father may tolerate personal discomfort that he would never choose merely for himself because he sees what the sacrifice protects. A leader may continue preparing because other people will carry the consequences of his judgment. A man building something useful for his community may persist because the work reaches beyond his own mood. The self becomes larger when responsibility becomes larger. This is why a purpose connected to service can create unusual endurance. But be careful. Do not use responsibility as an excuse to destroy yourself. There is a difference between sacrifice and self-eraser. If you say you are doing everything for your family, but become bitter, absent, unhealthy, and impossible to live with, then something has gone wrong. The people you love did not ask to become the justification for your collapse. A worthy purpose should organize sacrifice, not excuse every excess. Ask what the people you are doing this for actually need. Perhaps they need money. Yes. Perhaps they also need your presence, your patience, your help, your example, your ability to listen. Do not reduce provision to income alone. A man can provide financially and still leave other forms of poverty in the household. This is why success must be defined broadly enough to include the people it claims to serve. If the goal is for your children, what kind of man are they watching while you pursue it? Are they learning discipline or only exhaustion? Are they learning courage or only anxiety? Are they learning that work has purpose or that work consumes everything? Your example may teach more than the money you eventually leave. This is not an argument against ambition. It is an argument for aligned ambition. Build strongly. Earn will. Expand where expansion serves. But keep the reason visible. A man can become so fascinated by the machinery of achievement that he forgets the destination. The numbers become the purpose. Growth becomes the purpose. Winning becomes the purpose. Then he begins making decisions that the original reason would have rejected. This happens gradually. At first, he wants enough money to protect his family. Later, he wants more money because another man has more. At first, he wants a larger business to gain freedom. Later, he wants a larger business because size itself has become a measure of worth. The motive shifts. Notice when it shifts. Ask, if nobody were impressed by this next increase, would I still want it? That question exposes vanity. Vanity is expensive because it creates goals that require maintenance without creating meaning. The man who buys admiration must keep paying for it. There will always be another display, another comparison, another person who appears ahead. You cannot build peace upon ranking. Your deeper reason protects you from this. If your success is for the security of your household, another man's mansion does not automatically change the requirement. If your success is for freedom, another man's title does not automatically become desirable. If your success is for service, another man's applause does not define your usefulness. You have another standard. This is one of the greatest benefits of purpose. It makes comparison less powerful. You can admire another man's achievement without needing to copy his life. You know what your own success is supposed to do. That clarity preserves concentration. It also makes sacrifice more intelligent. You stop sacrificing for symbols. You sacrifice for outcomes that matter. Perhaps you live modestly for several years because you are building a reserve. That sacrifice has purpose. Perhaps you study while others rest because a new skill can change the earning power of your household. That sacrifice has purpose. Perhaps you refuse a prestigious position because it would take you away from the people you are trying to serve. That refusal has purpose too. Purpose does not always ask for more effort. Sometimes it asks for a different decision. This is where many ambitious men become confused. They think commitment means always choosing the larger opportunity. No, commitment means choosing what serves the definite aim. If the larger opportunity destroys the reason behind the aim, it may be a poor opportunity. You need the courage to measure success by your own purpose. Other people may not understand. They see the salary. You see the cost. They see the title. You see the hours. They see the expansion. You see what it will require from the household. You must live with the whole equation. Therefore, you must make the decision. This requires honesty about who you are really doing it for. Some men claim they are doing it for family when they're actually chasing approval. The family becomes a respectable explanation for ambition they are afraid to admit. Examine yourself. If the family were already secure, would you still want the next level? If yes, why? Perhaps you love the work. Perhaps you want mastery. Perhaps you want to build something important. Good. Name that honestly. Do not hide ambition behind another person's name. A clear motive is easier to govern than a disguised one. There is nothing wrong with wanting personal achievement. The danger is lying to yourself about why you want it. A man who knows his motive can set proper boundaries. A man who does not know his motive becomes easy to manipulate by praise, comparison, fear, and habit. Know the motive. Then ask whether it deserves years of your life. Because every major aim is purchased with time. Money can be replaced. Time cannot. When you choose a goal, you are choosing what will receive mornings, evenings, thought, energy, and attention. That is why the question, who is this for, is not sentimental. It is economic. You are allocating the most limited resource you possess, your life. Spend it deliberately. Do not give 10 years to a goal merely because it sounds successful. Know what those years are meant to produce. Know who benefits. Know what kind of man the pursuit requires you to become. Know what you refuse to lose while gaining it. These answers create a stronger purpose than ambition alone for years to come. And once the reason becomes clear, another question appears. If you know who your success is for, what exactly do they need you to build? And what kind of man must you become so that the success you create actually serves them instead of becoming another burden they have to carry? If you know who your success is for, then stop measuring success only by what you can accumulate. Ask what the people behind your ambition actually need. That question is more demanding than it appears. A family may need financial security, but security is not created by income alone. It is also created by judgment, by consistency, by a man who can make difficult decisions without turning every difficulty into fear, by a man whose word can be trusted, by a man who does not disappear emotionally. Because business becomes demanding. This is why success is never only about what you bring home. It is also about what kind of presence enters a home with you. A large income carried by a restless, angry, distracted man can create a poor kind of wealth. A smaller income carried by discipline, planning, affection, and stability may create something far stronger. Do not misunderstand this and make an excuse for weak ambition. Earn more where greater earning serves a worthy purpose. Build more where greater building creates useful freedom. But do not reduce success to money because money is the easiest result to count. Trust, confidence, example, character, peace. And if your ambition destroys them, then the ambition is poorly organized. You must define what provision really means. If you say, I am doing this for my children, then ask what you hope your children actually receive. Only inheritance or courage, only education, or the example of a man who kept learning, only a comfortable house or a household where truth can be spoken without fear. Only opportunity or the discipline to use opportunity. Well, you want both. Material preparation and moral preparation. This is where the question of who becomes practical. The people you love do not merely need the result of your work. They are being influenced by the manner in which you work. They watch how you handle pressure. They watch whether success makes you arrogant. They watch whether failure makes you cruel. They watch what money does to your judgment. They watch whether your promises disappear when circumstances become inconvenient. You are teaching while pursuing. Remember that the achievement is not the only inheritance. The method becomes part of the inheritance too. Suppose you build wealth through panic. Every decision is made from fear. Every expense becomes an argument. Every risk becomes a catastrophe. You may succeed financially and still teach fear around money. Suppose instead you build through planning. You live within your means. You keep reserves. You discuss decisions calmly. You take calculated risks. You correct mistakes. Now wealth and financial intelligence are growing together. Which inheritance is stronger? This is why the man must become worthy of the result he intends to provide. If you want to give security, become stable. If you want to give opportunity, become capable. If you want to give guidance, become teachable. If you want to give peace, learn how to govern your own fear. You cannot reliably give what you have never developed. This does not mean you must become perfect before serving anyone. It means the purpose should develop you while you pursue it. A worthy reason should call forth useful character. That is one test of whether your ambition is sound. Ask what the goal is forcing you to become: more disciplined, more responsible, more patient, more skilled, more financially intelligent. Good. Those qualities will outlive many individual achievements. But if the goal is making you increasingly dishonest, vain, absent, impatient, or dependent upon approval, stop and examine the design. Do not assume a large result excuses a poor transformation. This is especially true in leadership. If other people depend upon your decisions, then your development is not merely personal. Your lack of judgment becomes their problem. Your lack of preparation becomes their risk. Your inability to control emotion becomes the atmosphere they must work inside. Therefore, improve yourself as an act of responsibility. Study because other people may one day depend upon what you know. Learn to listen because another man's useful idea may protect the whole enterprise. Learn to admit error because pride can make one weak decision expensive. This is success for someone beyond yourself. Your growth becomes service, and service creates a different kind of ambition. You stop asking only how high can I rise. You begin asking how much responsibility can I carry. Well, that is a better question. Position without capacity is dangerous. Money without judgment is dangerous. Influence without character is dangerous. If your success is meant to help others, then increasing capacity becomes more important than increasing appearance. You may need to delay expansion because your systems are weak. You may need to refuse an opportunity because your family already needs more of your presence. You may need to hire help because trying to do everything personally has turned dedication into disorder. These decisions can feel less heroic. They are often more responsible. A man doing everything himself may look hard work. He may also be preventing the enterprise from becoming stable. A man never resting may look committed. He may also be making poor decisions because exhaustion has reduced judgment. Do not reward appearances. Study consequences. If your reason is real, consequences matter more than the story you tell about your sacrifice. This is where some men hide from a difficult truth. They enjoy being needed. They say they are carrying everything for others, but part of them enjoys the identity of being indispensable. Then delegation feels threatening. Rest feels irresponsible. Other people's independence feels like a loss of importance. Be honest. Service is not making everyone dependent upon you. Good service increases strength in the people you serve. A father should not merely solve every problem for his children. He should help them become capable of solving problems. A leader should not build an organization where every answer must come through him. He should develop judgment in others. A successful man should not use generosity to keep people permanently weak, given ways that build capacity where possible. The people you love do not always need what they immediately request. A child may want every difficulty removed. That is not always useful. An employee may want praise without correction. That is not leadership. A relative may want financial help without changing the habit, creating repeated crisis. If you say yes to everything in the name of love, you may be financing weakness. Service requires judgment. Sometimes helping means giving. Sometimes helping means teaching. Sometimes helping means refusing. Sometimes helping means allowing consequence to complete a lesson you cannot teach with words. This can be painful. But your purpose cannot be governed entirely by the desire to be liked by the people you serve. You must want their long-term good more than their immediate approval. That applies to your own family too. A man can become financially irresponsible because he wants to give his household every visible comfort immediately. He spends beyond reason. He avoids saying no. He borrows against tomorrow to create appearances today. Then he says, I did it for them. No, he may have done it partly because he could not tolerate disappointing them. There is a difference. Real provision includes restraint. It includes explaining why something must wait. It includes building a reserve instead of displaying every increase. It includes choosing security over appearance. This may not impress anyone. It can protect the people who matter. That is the purpose. You must become willing to make decisions whose benefit is not immediately visible. This is what long-term responsibility requires. The tree planted today does not shade the family tomorrow morning. Plant it anyway. The savings kept quietly may receive no praise. Keep them. Continue. The business system you strengthen may seem less exciting than expansion. Strengthen it. A purpose larger than your own ego can tolerate delayed applause. You know who the work is for. That makes invisible construction easier to respect. Insurance, reserves, legal clarity, skill, healthy routines, strong relationships, written agreements. These things are rarely celebrated until they are needed. Build them before the need becomes urgent. That is one way love becomes organized. It anticipates, it prepares. It does not wait for crisis to prove how much it cares. A man who truly wants to protect his household does not merely work hard. He thinks ahead. What happens if income stops for 6 months? What happens if health changes? What happens if I am absent? What knowledge does my family need that only I currently possess? These are not pleasant questions. They are responsible questions. Do not build a life that works only while you personally hold every piece together. If your success is for others, make the structure capable of serving them beyond your daily presence. Teach, document, share knowledge, create order. This is one of the differences between earning money and building security. Money can disappear. A sound structure improves resilience, and resilience is part of what success should provide. But there is another danger. When a man has a powerful reason outside himself, he may begin believing that his own needs no longer matter. He says, I do not matter. Only they matter. Be careful. You are part of the structure serving them. If you destroy yourself, the structure weakens. Your health matters because your usefulness depends upon it. Your mind matters because decisions depend upon it. Your rest matters because judgment depends upon it. Your own interests matter because a man who has no life beyond obligation often becomes resentful toward the very people he claims to serve. Do not turn purpose into martyrdom. Martyrdom can be another form of pride. You suffer beyond necessity and quietly expect everyone to recognize a sacrifice. Then when recognition does not come, bitterness enters. Better to build sustainably, give strongly, work seriously, but create a life you can continue without hating the people at the center of it. Never say after everything I did for you as though your sacrifice created permanent ownership over another person's choices. If you gave willingly, let the gift be a gift. If expectations existed, state them honestly. Do not create invisible contracts. This matters especially with children. You may work for years to give them opportunities. Good. But their life is still theirs. They may choose a profession different from the one you imagined. They may use the freedom you created in ways you did not predict. Your success should give them a stronger beginning, not a narrower cage. Otherwise, provision becomes control. Know the difference. The highest form of service often creates freedom in another person. You provide education so they can think. You provide stability so they can choose from strength rather than fear. You provide example so they can develop judgment. Then release them to use it. This can require more courage than providing money. Money is concrete. Freedom is uncertain. But if your reason truly is their good, their growth must eventually matter more than your control. This is another way your purpose develops you. It teaches generosity without possession, responsibility without domination, care without fear. These are advanced forms of strength, and they apply beyond family. Perhaps your success is for a cause. Perhaps you want to improve your community. Perhaps you want to build an institution that provides opportunity after you are gone. Then the same principle applies. Do not make yourself the center of the cause. Build something that can function without your personality holding every piece together. Develop other leaders. Share authority. Create principles clear enough that others can carry them. A cause dependent entirely upon one man remains fragile. That requires humility. You may begin the work. You may not be the man who completes it. Can you accept that? A cathedral may be started by men who never see the final stone placed. Their labor still matters. A school may educate generations the founder never meets. Purpose extends the horizon. You stop demanding that every reward return directly to you. This is one reason service can strengthen persistence. The work becomes larger than your personal timetable. You say, I am contributing to something that deserves to continue. That thought can sustain effort through slow seasons. But again, accurate thinking must remain. Do not attach yourself to a cause merely because the cause sounds noble. Ask whether the work actually helps. Good intentions can still produce poor results. Measure impact. Listen to the people you intend to serve. Correct methods. Do not become so emotionally attached to being a helper that you refuse evidence that the help is ineffective. Service without accurate thinking can become expensive vanity. The purpose is not to feel useful. The purpose is to be useful. That distinction will save you from many mistakes. Ask what changed because of the work. Did people become more capable? Did conditions improve? Did opportunities expand? Did the enterprise become more stable? Measure what can be measured. Then improve what is weak. A cause deserves professional discipline just as a business does, perhaps more. When people depend upon you, careless idealism is not enough. You need plans, budgets, standards, competent associates, clear responsibilities. Purpose does not replace organization. Purpose gives organization a reason. This is another place where the mastermind principle becomes essential. If the work serves something larger than yourself, gather minds that can strengthen it. Do not choose associates only because they admire you. Choose people who care about the purpose enough to challenge you. A loyal man who tells you the truth may serve the mission better than 10 men who applaud every idea. You need different strengths: financial judgment, technical knowledge, human understanding, practical experience. The larger the purpose, the more dangerous it becomes to assume one mind can carry everything. Organized intelligence expands service, and it reduces the temptation to make your own exhaustion proof of commitment. You do not need to suffer most to care most. That belief destroys good leaders. Your value may lie in organizing rather than personally carrying every load. Learn that early. The people depending upon the purpose need the work to endure, not your exhaustion to look noble. This changes how you evaluate opportunity too. Suppose a new opportunity brings more money but weakens the people or purpose behind your ambition. Then the money may be too expensive. Suppose another opportunity appears smaller but gives you more control, more time, and greater ability to serve what matters. The smaller figure may produce the larger success. This is why you cannot borrow another man's definition. He does not know who your success is for. He may be building for himself alone. You may be building for 3 generations. He may value maximum income. You may value independence and presence. Different purposes create different calculations. Make your own calculation honestly and revise it. As life changes, the people you are serving will change. Children grow, parents age, businesses mature, responsibilities shift. A purpose that was correct 10 years ago may need another expression today. Do not continue sacrificing in an old form after the need has changed. Perhaps your children once needed more money. Now they need your wisdom and presence. Perhaps your parents once needed advice. Now they need practical support. Perhaps the enterprise once needed every waking hour. Now it needs delegation and stronger systems. Purpose remains alive by adapting to reality. Do not make yesterday's sacrifice permanent merely because you became skilled at making it. Ask what is needed now. This question keeps service current. It also prevents identity from becoming trapped. A man may spend 20 years as provider and then feel useless when his children no longer depend upon him financially. He must discover that his purpose was never merely to pay bills. It was to contribute to their strength that can continue in another form. Counsel, presence, example, encouragement, respect for their independence. Purpose can mature. Let it the deeper reason behind success should become larger with experience, not narrower. At first, you may work for your household. Later, you may become capable of serving employees, customers, students, neighbors, or younger men who need what experience taught you. This does not mean abandoning your family for a grand public mission. It means the circle of usefulness can expand when capacity expands. Success gives you resources. The question becomes what those resources are for. Money can create opportunity. Knowledge can shorten another man's learning. Influence can open a door. Experience can prevent an error. A reputation can bring attention to worthwhile work. Use what success gives you. Otherwise, success becomes storage. and stored power without purpose often turns into vanity. A man begins protecting possessions instead of deploying resources. He becomes afraid of losing what he once wanted in order to become free. Remember why you built. If wealth was meant to create choice, use some of that choice. If influence was meant to improve conditions, use it responsibly. If knowledge was meant to serve, teach it. Let success move. Circulation keeps purpose alive. But circulate intelligently. Generosity without judgment can destroy capital that might have served for decades. A man who gives everything quickly may feel noble and become unable to help later. A stewardship matters. You are not merely the owner of resources. You are the manager of what the purpose requires. This is why knowing who success is for changes how you handle every stage. Before success, it gives endurance. During success, it gives boundaries. After success, it gives direction to what has been accumulated. The reason becomes a compass across the whole road. And if the compass is clear enough, it protects you from the final distortion, building so much for other people that you never ask whether the life you are creating is one they would actually want you to live. Because the people who truly love you may not want your fortune if the price is your absence, your health, your peace, or the disappearance of the man they were hoping success would allow you to become. The people who truly love you may not want your fortune if the price is your absence, your health, your peace, or the disappearance of the man they were hoping success would allow you to become. That truth must be faced before ambition becomes too expensive to question. A man can spend years saying, "I am doing all of this for them," while never asking whether they would choose the bargain he is making on their behalf. He assumes more income is always better. More property is always better. More recognition is always better. More expansion is always better. But the people at the center of his purpose may value something he has forgotten to count. Time, calm, conversation, reliability. A father who is present. A husband who is not permanently exhausted. A son who can still sit with his parents without treating every quiet hour as lost production. Success must not become a machine that consumes the very relationships that gave it meaning. This does not mean ambition should become timid. It means ambition must remain answerable to purpose. You need to know what must not be sacrificed. Write that down as clearly as you write financial goals. What will you refuse to lose while building? Your integrity, your health, your marriage, your ability to think clearly, your presence with your children. A worthy ambition needs boundaries before pressure arrives. If you wait until the opportunity is on the table, pride and excitement may make the decision for you. Decide beforehand. There are prices I will pay. There are prices I will not. That is not weakness. That is design. A man who has no limits can be purchased by any large enough opportunity. Do not become purchasable. Know what success is for, and know what success is not allowed to destroy. This becomes especially important when the world begins rewarding you. At the beginning, sacrifice feels temporary. You say, "I will work this way until the business is stable." Then the business becomes stable, but another target appears. You say, "I will slow down after this expansion." Then expansion creates another level of responsibility. You say, "I will make time after this year." The year ends. Another year demands the same answer. Be careful with temporary sacrifice that renews itself without permission. What was once a season can become a personality. You begin living as though urgency is normal. You forget how to sit still without guilt. You forget how to listen without thinking of the next task. You become efficient at earning and poor at receiving the life the earning was supposed to support. That is a serious failure of purpose. A man can become wealthy and still be unable to enjoy one quiet afternoon with the people he claims to have done it for. What did the wealth purchase then? Perhaps comfort? Perhaps status, but not freedom. Freedom includes the ability to be where you intend to be without your mind constantly dragged elsewhere. That requires training. Attention is part of provision. When you are with your family, can you be with them? When you rest, can you rest without secretly treating rest as laziness? When someone you love speaks, can you listen without measuring the conversation against work left undone? These questions reveal whether success has become a servant or a master. A master demands constant tribute. A servant is used according to purpose. Keep success in the second position. This is why knowing who the goal is for must influence your calendar, not merely your speeches. A man can say family is first and still give family whatever time remains after every other demand. Then family is not first. The calendar has already voted. Examine yours. Where do the best hours go? Who receives your patience? Who receives the tired version of you? Who receives your attention after the world has taken the sharpest part? These are uncomfortable questions because they expose the difference between declared values and lived values. Use the discomfort. Correct the structure. Maybe the answer is not working less immediately. Perhaps the answer is working with greater organization, delegating, removing trivial obligations, refusing meetings that serve vanity, building systems, hiring capable help, concentrating on the few tasks only you can perform. A man may tell himself he has no time for those he loves, when the deeper problem is that he has not learned how to protect time from low-value demands. Purpose should improve selection. If the people behind your success truly matter, their place cannot depend entirely upon whether the day happens to become convenient. Convenience is unreliable. Commitment needs structure. Set aside time before the world claims it. Protect some meals. Protect some evenings. Protect important occasions. Not because every moment must be perfect, but because repeated absence becomes a message whether you intend it or not. People learn what matters to you from patterns. So do you. And there's another form of absence that money cannot repair. Emotional absence. A man can be sitting in the room and still be unavailable. His mind remains in business. His temper remains in the office. His anxiety enters the household before he does. He says, "I am here," but everyone feels that he is not. Do not carry every battle into every room. Learn to close one door before opening another. This is self-command. Business pressure belongs in business. The family may need to know the truth about serious conditions, but they do not need to become the dumping ground for every irritation. Bring honesty home. Do not bring uncontrolled residue. A difficult negotiation does not justify impatience with a child. A financial concern does not justify speaking harshly to a wife. A disappointing day does not justify making everyone else walk carefully around your mood. If you are doing it for them, do not make them pay twice. Once through your absence, and again through the pressure you bring back. Govern yourself. This is part of success too. A man who can lead a large enterprise but cannot lead himself through the front door has unfinished work. Your family does not need only the provider. They need the man, and the man must remain larger than his function. You are not merely an earner, not merely an employer. Family life is less measurable. There is no account showing exactly how much patience is enough. No certificate proving you listened well. No public applause for choosing a quiet evening over an impressive invitation. These things rarely produce headlines. They produce a life. Do not be so busy building a name that you lose the people who call you by your first one. This is where ambition must mature. Immature ambition wants proof. Mature ambition wants alignment. It asks whether success outside the home agrees with the condition inside it. It asks whether the man respected publicly is respectable privately. It asked whether wealth increased choice or merely increased appetite. It asked whether the people who were supposed to benefit actually did. These are harder measures because they cannot be reduced to one number. Use them anyway. Not everything important can be counted cleanly. And yet you can still observe evidence. Do the people closest to you trust your word? Can they bring you bad news without fear? Do they feel they must compete with your work for every minute? Do you know what your children are becoming, not merely what they need financially? Do you know what your wife worries about, hopes for, and carries? If the answer is no, no increase in income can substitute for the knowledge. Learn them. The people behind the purpose must remain real people, not symbols you mention when explaining your sacrifice. This is one reason regular conversation matters. Ask what they actually need. Do not assume. A man may believe his family wants a larger house when they would rather have more of his time. He may believe his children need every advantage money can purchase when they are craving confidence, guidance, and example. He may believe his wife wants more security when what she is asking for is partnership in decisions. Listen, purpose should be informed by the people it serves. Otherwise, you may spend decades solving a problem they never ask you to solve. This does not mean your family should dictate every business decision. Leadership still requires judgment. You may see risks, They do not. You may have responsibilities they do not fully understand. But people affected by the mission deserve to be considered in the mission. That consideration makes success human. It prevents the chief aim from becoming a private obsession disguised as service. And obsession can be very convincing. It says just one more level, then I will be available. Just one more year, then I will rest. Just one more achievement. Then I will feel secure. Notice the pattern. The promised peace is always after the next result. Do not postpone all life until ambition finally says enough. Ambition may never say enough. You must. You need the ability to enjoy progress before completion. A goal can remain unfinished while life remains worth living. You can build intensely and still notice what is already good. You can carry responsibility and still laugh. You can pursue wealth and still enjoy a simple meal. You can aim higher without treating the present as merely a waiting room. This matters because the people you love are living now. Children do not remain children until your business plan is complete. Parents do not remain the same age until your schedule becomes convenient. Relationships do not pause while you chase the next level. Time is moving through every room. Remember that the reason behind success should sharpen your sense of time, not merely your sense of urgency. Urgency says work faster. Wisdom asks, what deserves this year of my life? Those are different questions. You may still decide that a demanding season is necessary. Fine. Then make it conscious. Name the season. Name the purpose. Name what will change when the season ends. Do not let emergency become indefinite. If you tell your family, I need 6 months of unusual effort to secure this transition, then honor the 6 months by reviewing the arrangement when the time comes. Otherwise, your words lose value. People stop trusting promises of later. They have heard later too often. This is another reason to avoid careless promises about future balance. Do not say, I will make it up someday. Sunday has no date. Instead, ask what can be protected even during intensity. One evening, one breakfast, one walk, one conversation without interruption. Small acts of presence can preserve connection through demanding periods. Do not despise them because they seem modest beside large financial goals. Relationships also compound through repeated deposits. Trust grows from small kept promises. Distance grows from small repeated absences. Choose which one you are building. And remember that the people behind your success should not become the only reason you exist. This may sound contradictory. It is not. A man needs some purpose that belongs to his own development too. If every dream is entirely borrowed from the needs of others, resentment may eventually appear. You may wake one day and say, I gave everyone everything and built nothing that felt like mine. Do not create that bitterness. Your life also contains abilities that deserve expression. Work you may love, ideas you want to develop, experiences you value. A healthy purpose can include these. Serving others does not require disappearing. In fact, a man who remains alive in his own mind often serves better. He brings energy rather than quiet resentment. He models a life of responsibility joined with individual purpose. Your children should not learn that adulthood means abandoning every personal aspiration in the name of duty. They should learn that duty and purpose can be organized together with maturity. Not perfectly, but deliberately. This requires conversation inside the household. What are we building? What are we willing to sacrifice? What do we want our money to do? What do we refuse to let success cost? These questions turn one man's ambition into a shared understanding. They do not make every decision democratic. They make the purpose visible. And when people understand why a season is demanding, sacrifice can feel different. Confusion creates more resentment than hardship alone. Clarity helps, but clarity must be joined with consistency. If you say the sacrifice is for the family should eventually experience the benefit not only financially in the quality of life, in reduced fear, in more choice, in more time where possible, in opportunities created. Let success return something to the reason that funded it. Otherwise, the machinery keeps everything for itself. This is where many men fail after they have already won. They finally possess enough, but they do not know how to transition from accumulation to use. They keep working at the same intensity because intensity has become familiar. They know how to chase. They do not know how to receive. Learn both. There is a time to build reserve. There is a time to use some of the reserve for the life it was meant to support. There is a time to expand. There is a time to consolidate. There is a time to sacrifice. There is also a time to let sacrifice produce the promised return. If you never allow that return, your family may conclude that the next goal will always outrank the present life. Do not teach that lesson. Teach stewardship. Money is gathered for purposes. Time is protected for purposes. Work is organized for purposes. When purpose is served, let yourself acknowledge it. You reached the reserve. Good. You paid the debt. Good. You created the education fund. Good. Pause long enough to recognize completion. Then decide what comes next from clarity, not automatic hunger. This ability to stop and reassess is one of the most neglected forms of self-command. A man who cannot stop is not always disciplined. Sometimes he is driven. There is a difference. Discipline can accelerate or slow according to purpose. Compulsion only pushes. Know which one is operating. If fear of losing status keeps you working beyond necessity, fear is operating. If comparison keeps moving the target, comparison is operating. If you cannot imagine yourself without expansion, identity is operating. Bring the original reason back. Who is this for? What do they need now? What do I need to remain capable of serving them well? Those questions can rescue ambition from becoming a master. And as your success grows, the answer may become broader. At first, the reason may be your household. Later, after security is established, you may ask what else your capacity can serve. Perhaps younger men need instruction. Perhaps employees need better leadership. Perhaps your community needs opportunity. Perhaps a cause deserves support. The circle can expand. But expansion should come from surplus capacity, not from neglecting the first responsibilities while chasing a grander identity. Do not become publicly generous and privately absent. Do not become admired by strangers and unknown by your own family. Order matters. Serve near before pretending distance is more noble. This does not mean your public contribution must wait until every private condition is perfect. Nothing is ever perfect. It means do not use a public mission to escape private responsibility. A man can hide in service just as easily as he can hide in business. The applause is different. The avoidance can be the same. Keep motives clean. This is why knowing who success is for must be revisited repeatedly. At 25, the answer may be one thing. At 45, another dimension appears. At 65, another purpose can mature without losing continuity. You may begin by building security, then build freedom, then build contribution, then build legacy. Each stage asks a different question of the resources you created. What matters is that success remains connected to human meaning, not merely accumulation. And legacy is where this becomes especially clear. You will not carry the title forever. You will not manage the enterprise forever. You will not make every decision forever. At some point, what remains will be what you built into people, structures, values, and opportunities. That should influence how you work now. Do not merely create assets. Create capable people. Do not merely accumulate knowledge. Teach some of it. Do not merely build authority. Develop others who can carry responsibility. Do not merely protect your name. Build something worthy of the name. This is success becoming transferable. And transferability is one of the clearest signs that success was truly for more than ego. If everything collapses the moment you leave, perhaps you built dependence upon yourself rather than a durable contribution. Think beyond your own presence. What principles should continue? What opportunities should remain available? What wisdom should be passed? What family culture should survive? These questions make ambition deeper. But before legacy, there is still one immediate duty. You must make sure the people you say you are doing it for actually know that they matter before achievement is complete. Do not wait until the final account is settled to show them. Do not assume they understand. Tell them, listen to them. Be present where presence cannot be replaced. Because success offered too late cannot repair every absence that accumulated on the road toward it. And that leads to the final question. When all the building, earning, striving, and sacrificing are stripped away, what do you want the people behind your ambition to say? Your success gave them that money alone never could. The answer should not be only money. If the people behind your ambition remember only what you purchased, success may have given them less than it could have. Ask what you want your work to leave inside them. Security, confidence, courage, a stronger beginning, the belief that difficulty can be met without surrender. The example of a man who knew how to work hard without becoming hard. These things cannot be placed in an account, yet they may outlive everything that can. Your children may spend the money. They may sell the property. The business may change hands, but the standards they watch can remain inside decisions they make long after you are gone. That is why the manner of your success matters. If they watched you keep your word when breaking it would have been profitable. They learned something. If they watched you admit a mistake without hiding behind pride, they learned something. If they watched you treat people with dignity after gaining authority, they learned something. If they watched you give full attention during demanding years, they learned something. Money alone could never teach. This is legacy before inheritance. Build it while you are here. Do not assume a large estate can compensate for a life that was emotionally absent. Do not assume provision later. Excuses neglect now. Give both where you can. Build the future. Be present in the present. That balance will never be perfect. There will be seasons when work requires more. There will be sacrifices your family may understand only later. Let those sacrifices remain connected to a reason everyone can recognize. Do not let ambition become a permanent emergency. Success should create greater capacity to live, not merely greater capacity to work. And when you have enough to breathe, breathe. When you have enough to choose, choose deliberately. When you have enough to help, help wisely. Do not keep racing only because racing became familiar. A man who cannot stop after reaching his reason may discover he was serving the chase. Know the difference. Return often to the question, who is this for? Perhaps the answer begins with your family. Perhaps it expands to employees, students, customers, neighbors, or strangers. Good. Let success widen usefulness. Do not forget the people nearest the original purpose while becoming useful to others. Public contribution should not be purchased with private abandonment. A man admired by thousands can still fail the few who depended upon him most. Keep the order honest. Remember that the person behind your ambition may also be your future self. You may be working, so the older man you become has freedom rather than regret. So he has savings, health, relationships, work. He respects memories beyond labor. Do not rob that future man while claiming to prepare for him. He will not thank you for a fortune delivered with a ruined body, broken relationships, and no ability to enjoy an ordinary day. Build something he can actually inhabit. This is why success must be designed, not merely pursued. Decide what enough looks like. Decide what matters beyond money. Decide what must remain intact. Then let those decisions govern opportunity. A larger offer is not automatically a better offer. A larger business is not automatically a better life. A larger income is not automatically greater success. The real question is whether the increase serves the reason. If it does, use it. If it does not, have the courage to leave it alone. That courage may save you from winning things you never needed. Success is not the accumulation of every available advantage. It is the organized achievement of a purpose you can respect. The strongest purpose usually reaches beyond your own reflection. It gives the work somewhere meaningful to go. So before you chase another level, another title, another increase, ask again, who receives the benefit? What does this make possible? What will it cost them while I pursue it? What will it cost me? Is the exchange still worthy? Answer honestly, then move with conviction. If the reason is worthy, let it strengthen you on difficult mornings. Let it discipline your spending. Let it sharpen your decisions. Let it remind you why one temptation should be refused and another opportunity should be taken. A clear reason becomes a standard when ambition becomes noisy. One day when the work is finished, the people behind your success may not remember every figure you reached. They may remember that they felt safe because you were steady at all, that they believed in work because they saw yours, that they learned generosity because power did not make you selfish, that they learned courage because failure did not make you quit, that they knew they mattered before your achievements were complete. Let that be part of the fortune. Build money if money serves. Build influence if influence serves. Build enterprises if enterprises serve, but build people too. Build trust. Build example. Build memories that do not require explanation, because success becomes meaningful when it gives something valuable to someone beyond the man achieving it. And if you know exactly who that someone is, You will know what to pursue, what to refuse, how much is enough, and why the struggle is worth carrying. Do not chase success merely to say you reached it. Know who it is for. Then make sure the life you build actually reaches them.